911, what's your emergency?
Hi, I need an ambulance to 2104 Maple Street. What?
Behind you.
I still remember when the Vampire Diaries ended in 2017. It wasn't just another show wrapping up its story, it felt like closing the last page of a book that defined a certain era of television. For 8 seasons, it gave us heartbreak, chaos, and immortal drama. The Salvatore brothers, Damon and Stefan, weren't just characters, they were part of our lives, and Mystic Falls felt like home. So when Ian Somerhalder posted that video with Paul Wesley in May 2024, I didn't even blink before hitting replay. The caption "Season 9 wrap" was enough to send the fandom into overdrive. It didn't matter that the setup was clearly tongue-in-cheek. Fans weren't interested in logic. They saw the two brothers back together, laughing and hinting, and suddenly the dream felt alive again. They joked about Season 9 starting with one camera, a few bottles of water, and a boom. But for longtime fans, that was enough. Some shouted in the comments, pleading for this not to be a prank. Others confessed they'd been waiting years for anything TVD related, even if it was tied to the Brothers Bond bourbon label. For a moment, it didn't matter that it was just a promo video for GoPuff. That single moment reignited a longing that never really faded. The original show ended for a reason. Julie Plec, one of the creators, was clear about that. Contracts were running out, storylines were beginning to feel stretched, and behind the scenes, the usual logistics were piling up. In a way, it wasn't just a creative decision, it was a survival one. Plec even said something that stuck with me: if it feels like it should be over, then it should be over. That's what happened with Season 8. The stories had been told, the actors were ready to move on, and the love triangle that once powered the entire show had run its course. But then there's that lingering question, what if? What if they had held back a little longer? What if Elena had stayed human for just a few more seasons? Because as much as I love the Vampire Diaries, I'll be honest, it was never the same after Elena became a vampire. That moment in Season 4 changed everything. It was a twist that had been coming for a long time, and I knew it was inevitable, but I wasn't ready for what came next. Elena's transformation took away something essential. She was the emotional center, the human surrounded by monsters. Her heart kept everyone grounded, Stefan, Damon, even the audience. Before she turned, she always made her choices from a place of human fear, human empathy. That mattered. It gave the show weight, but once she turned, that balance disappeared. Her relationships shifted, the tone darkened, and even though the show still delivered some strong episodes, it lost something real. Elena never wanted to be a vampire. That part of her character was consistent from the very beginning. While other vampire stories leaned into the glamour and romance of immortality, Elena was always aware of the cost. Her transformation felt like a betrayal of who she was. And worse, it felt too early. Season 4 wasn't the time. There was still so much more that could have been explored, especially with the love triangle. Instead, the show rushed into complications. The sire bond with Damon, the tug-of-war over her emotions, and eventually, Nina Dobrev left. That hit hard, not just for the characters, but for us. She wasn't on screen, but she was everywhere. Every scene carried the weight of her absence, and no matter how strong the writing or how compelling the villains, something felt off. I don't blame the writers, they were building on years of momentum, and the supernatural stakes were always rising, but looking back, holding off Elena's transformation could have kept the heart of the show beating a little longer. That one choice changed the direction of everything, and yet fans stuck with it, because Damon and Stefan still meant something, because Bonnie deserved better, because Caroline's arc was still evolving, and because the Vampire Diaries never lost its grip on emotional storytelling even when the core was missing. Then came the Originals and Legacies. Both had their magic. The Originals leaned into family legacy and darker lore. Legacies brought a new generation into the mix, and through those spin-offs, we even got updates. Elena is married to Damon. She's a doctor now, helping people in Mystic Falls. Their daughter, Stephanie Rose Salvatore, appeared in Legacies, and in a way that helped fill the gaps left by the original series. But no continuation could fully replace the chemistry of the first show. The tension tension between Damon and Stefan, the power of Elena's choices, the emotional toll of fighting for humanity in a world that kept getting darker. So when people ask, could season 9 happen? I get why the answer feels complicated. Still, the fandom refuses to die, because TVD wasn't just about vampires and love triangles. It was about grief, growth, choices, sacrifice. It was about two brothers trying to save each other from themselves, and about a girl who had the strength to love them both in different ways at different times. We miss it because it mattered. There's something about the Vampire Diaries that keeps pulling me back. It's not just the love triangles, the eternal youth, or the endless resurrections. It's the pain, the weight of sacrifice, and when I think of sacrifice, I don't think of the Salvatore brothers or even Elena Gilbert. I think of Bonnie Bennett. She's the heartbeat of the show, even though she's never treated like it. While the story dances around Stefan's brooding, Damon's redemption, and Elena's choices, it quietly leans on Bonnie. Time after time when things fall apart, she's the one holding it all together. But the spotlight never stays on her for long, and that's always bothered me. From season 1, Bonnie is the one who actually loses the most. She starts off hesitant, unsure of her powers, but still steps up. She creates daylight rings for her vampire friends, even though she has every reason not to trust them. And it costs her. Her grandmother dies because of a spell they pressure her into. That moment should have been a turning point. It should have forced the others to stop and see her as more than a tool. But they never do. Instead, her grief is brushed aside so the plot can move on. The Salvatore brothers always have each other. Elena always has someone who'd burn the world for her. But Bonnie? She's alone more often than not. Her relationship with Jeremy is a perfect example. She saves him, she protects him, and he cheats on her. And then somehow, she's the one left picking up the pieces again. But Bonnie becomes the show's silent weapon. Need to locate someone? Call Bonnie. Need to stop a supernatural villain? Bonnie's got it. Need to undo death or break a curse? She'll bleed herself dry for it. But nobody ever really sees her, not the way they should. There's a kind of sadness to watching someone give so much of themselves and get nothing in return. Bonnie doesn't just save the day once or twice, she does it again and again. She destroys hell itself. She brings people back from the dead. She even finds the cure for vampirism. And still, her pain is always treated like a side note. The thing is, Bonnie's power never comes from rage or vengeance. It comes from love. Not romantic love, but love for her friends, even the ones who constantly disappoint her. That's what makes her a true hero. Not the magic, not the spells, but the willingness to carry everyone else's burden, even when they forget to ask how she's doing. Then there's Enzo, the one relationship that finally made sense for her, someone who truly saw her, someone who didn't take her for granted. And just when it felt like she might get the happiness she'd always been denied, the writers took it away. Stefan kills him, and it breaks her. It breaks me too, because Bonnie had already lost so much, and this felt cruel. Stefan's choice was framed as part of his journey, his sacrifice, his redemption. But no one really talks about what that cost Bonnie. They say she's strong, that she'll move on, but why should she have to? Why couldn't she just be happy for once? The series finale tries to offer her some closure. Elena wakes up, Bonnie lives, she travels, but it doesn't feel earned. Not after everything she's been through. Not when everyone else gets a version of their dream ending. Damon gets the girl, Caroline opens a school, Elena finds peace. But Bonnie? She gets to move on alone. That's not a happy ending, that's survival. Season 9 might still be a long shot, but the fire hasn't gone out. Whether that rap video was just a tease or something more, it reminded us how deeply the Vampire Diaries lives inside us. If you're still holding on to Mystic Falls, still waiting for justice for Bonnie, or just craving one more look into that world, don't go anywhere. Hit like, share this with your fellow TVD loyalists, and subscribe for more deep dives, updates, and every whisper of what could come next. Because some stories never really end, they just wait to be told again.